Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is yet another episode of Talking Cinema. This time around, I'm going to be talking about some movie news as well as my thoughts on some trailers that have come out and some upcoming Blu-ray releases. I don't want to spend that much long on this intro, so let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is this series of short films that are going to be released for the 40th anniversary of Alien. So there's going to be 6 of them, and they're all from different filmmakers and fans of the franchise. And I am really looking forward to this. I think this could be really a lot of fun. As you know, I'm a huge fan of anthologies, and this is like a little mini Alien anthology. I think this has a lot of potential. Yes, some of them look very low budget, but they don't look any worse than any of the other Alien films that have come out post Aliens, if you ask me. So, I hopefully Fox will release them on YouTube instead of making them an exclusive on the 40th anniversary Blu-ray, because I think that would be pretty lame. It's a nice way to get free advertising as well as some extra revenue through ads on YouTube. I think it would be pretty dumb to make them only a Blu-ray exclusive, considering that most Alien fans already have the film on Blu-ray, and unless it's in 4K, or unless the whole franchise is going to be released in 4K, they're not going to really be that prone to double dipping or quadruple dipping, as Fox would like them to do. So we shall see what happens. Either way, I'll try to find a way to watch them. Maybe I'll get the 40th anniversary Blu-ray for cheap someday down the road, just so I can see the shorts if they are an exclusive. But don't know for sure until they actually come out. So for now, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's going to be male leads, something that I haven't seen in an Alien franchise in a long time. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully that's going to be pretty fun. Um, and can it really be any worse than Prometheus or Covenant? I mean, I doubt it, but we shall see. I don't really care about Captain Marvel. I care even less about Captain Marvel after finding out about what happened to Samuel Jackson's character. So I don't really care about the movie, not planning on seeing it. Larry Fessenden, who is a cult film director, he's doing his take on Frankenstein. It's called Depraved. It looks kind of interesting. Could be bad, but it still looks kind of interesting. It's trying to do a modern day telling of Frankenstein, and I think that has some potential, because a lot of the retellings of Frankenstein have taken place during the time of Mary Shelley's book, or they've been unofficial retellings of Frankenstein. And this is technically an unofficial retelling as well, but it's definitely trying to lean more towards the realistic take on Frankenstein, I guess. But also still have some horror and make Frankenstein a little bit more relatable in terms of who it is. So yeah, I'm a little curious about it. Well, the trailer didn't give away that much. It was just an intriguing looking film to me. Another intriguing film is a film called Book of Monsters, which is coming out on demand pretty soon, as well as on Blu-ray. Looks like a fun throwback 80s horror movie. Group of girls find a book and unleash monsters, and they have to try to stop them. It features a decent amount of practical effects, low budget, but it looks like it has a good amount of charm to it. So I'm willing to give it a shot one of these days. So those are my thoughts on a couple. I just wanted to mention those couple trailers real quick. And the big news is that James Gunn is back. He has been rehired by Disney after he was fired by Disney for the controversy surrounding some tweets that he tweeted 10 years ago that were controversial and offensive and so on and so forth. I dug a little deeper and found out that Disney didn't technically fire him. He was suspended indefinitely, and Disney made it look like he was fired to the media. They're like, yeah, we fired him, but in reality they never really did. And their whole plan from the get-go was to wait out the cult of outrage wait till they find another person or another celebrity to be outraged at, and then bring James Gunn back. They had no plans on replacing him as director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This has come out, and you know what? It's a shrewd move, but it's one that I I definitely don't fault Disney for making. In the last video I did about James Gunn, I totally supported their decision. James Gunn did it to himself because he tweeted those things. But I'm really glad that Disney really did have a plan in place from the start, that they weren't going to try to ruin his career or destroy his reputation based on tweets that he made 10 years ago, no matter how offensive a lot of people thought they were. Because ever since he was hired by Disney, he did nothing like that. He didn't tweet anything like that. He was a model citizen, and I definitely feel Disney is doing the right thing here by giving him back the reins to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, because it just would not be the same without him. And I'm not really that into a lot of Marvel stuff lately and get a little burned out on the MCU, but I am genuinely curious about Volume 3 because James Gunn is officially back as director, and the man who is in multiple ways responsible for that franchise's success is now officially back in control of the franchise. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the final resolution to this series will be, because more than likely this will be the last film that he's going to do in the franchise. I'd be surprised if there's another one. I think this is going to be a trilogy, and this is going to be one last hurrah for the Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, that's my thoughts on James Gunn's return to the director's chair. I didn't really want to focus too much on that because a lot of things have already been said about it. I don't think I'm really going to add anything extra that hasn't already been said by multiple other people. Looking through the news here some more on Slash Film. I guess Pet Sematary got a lot of good reviews, the new Pet Sematary film. I wasn't impressed with the trailers, you already know that. Stephen King's It also got rave reviews, and I thought that sucked. So I'm not going to put too much stock into rave reviews of the new Stephen King adaptation. Hans Zimmer is scoring Dune. Okay, alright. Hans Zimmer lately has been a little hit and miss, but I'm curious to see what his score will be like for Dune. I'm curious about Dune anyway. I'm a huge fan of David Lynch's Dune. I think it's incredibly underrated. I'm not really that familiar with the book, so I'm not one of those fans who's like, ooh, it wasn't like the book, so therefore it sucks. So what I'm curious about, though, is what kind of interpretation this new Dune is going to be. Is it going to be CGI fest? Are they going to try to actually shoot in real dunes like the 1984 film did? Or are they just going to be... I think it was 84. It could be. I mean, I should know, but it's been a while since I've seen it. It is 84. So my guts was right here. So yeah, they're not going to shoot on. Are they going to shoot on real dunes? Are they going to shoot on location? Are they going to take a page from Jodorowsky's Dune? I'm honestly on the fence with it, but I'm going to reserve my judgment on the new Dune until I see a trailer for it. It's definitely going to have more of a budget than the Sci-Fi Channel original miniseries did, so I think it should be better than that by default. But I think a lot of it lies on the lead, Timothée Chalamet as Atreides. I mean, I don't know. Like, is he really going to have the same presence that Kyle MacLachlan did? At the same time, Kyle MacLachlan, before he did Dune, he had never acted before. So, it's going to be quite an interesting thing. It's just one of those things where... And Denis Villeneuve, who's directing it, is a master of visual storytelling. So that alone is another reason why I'm really Ultimately looking forward to this Dune because of his work. He's just such an amazing director, and he did such a great job with Blade Runner 2049. So I really think he'll create some absolutely stunning visuals for the new Dune. But it's one of those things that, I still have to wait and see. Speaking of James Gunn, he's doing a Suicide reboot. It's not a sequel, it's a reboot. It's just called The Suicide Squad. It's a completely new Suicide Squad story. I'm alright with that, because the first Suicide Squad film, quite frankly, sucked. Harley Quinn was the best thing about it. A few other actors here and there. So Will Smith not returning his Deadshot's a bummer, because I did like him in the role. But overall, I'm totally okay with them deciding to just start from scratch. It's not a problem to me. No, it might be for some people, but for me, nah, not at all. Wasn't like it was that great to begin with. Speaking of things that weren't that great, it just leaked that Sega originally had plans for an Alien versus Predator football game. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This isn't an April Fool's Day joke, and this is not... I couldn't make this shit up if I tried, no matter how many drugs I smoked beforehand, if I did. I just could not do that, because this is such a ridiculous idea and a ridiculous concept. So the idea was that it was going to take place in the future, a lot like the Mutant Football League, and it was going to be Aliens versus Predator with football. It's a football game with aliens and predators. So the humans would be the quarterback, and you'd have, I think there'd be like the predators would be like the offensive players, and the aliens would be the defense. Like the xenomorphs would be wearing football helmets, and predators would be wearing pads. Like, wow. Yeah, I am definitely glad that didn't happen, because that was a stupid idea. That was stupid with a capital S. Like, that was so stupid. It's such a moronic idea. I am so glad that never happened. Because, wow, that would have been a contender for one of the worst games of the 90s. For sure. I mean, I could not believe it when I read it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, really? That actually almost was a thing. Speaking of stuff that I can't believe is actually a thing. Now, the initial news that's shared here in this article isn't bad. There's an artist who is doing a metallic print of the iconic artwork for RoboCop, the poster artwork. But what I can't believe is that the author for this bit of news, he makes it out to be that the fact that the original poster was a painting is some unbelievable, amazing, shocking thing. Because he says the poster is a classic, and any fan can immediately picture RoboCop stepping out of the Detroit police car, the lights flashing bright red as your imagination runs wild with the prospect of having a robot police officer taking care of justice on the streets. That's not a problem. That's great. That's a good way to describe the poster. But this is where it goes off the rails. You might not have realized this, but the theatrical poster for the Paul Verhoeven movie wasn't simply a touched-up photograph. It's actually a painting. And the tagline for this article is, exclusive, the original RoboCop poster was actually a painting. And I'm just like, when I read this, I was just like, just total... I don't know if ignorance is the right word, but just no research, lack of research. I mean, honestly, it's just one of those things. It's shocking that somebody in today's day and age would be like, "Wow, this is so unbelievable that this poster was a painting." Really, if you did one shred of research on posters back in the 80s, you would see that no, they're not blown up pictures. They're not touched up photos. Photoshop didn't really exist the way it does now. So it's not like they just photoshopped it. They were paintings. 99.9% of the time, posters were paintings or hand-drawn. Rarely, if ever, were they photos. No matter how realistic they looked, they were paintings. I never saw the RoboCop poster and thought, that's a photo. I mean, there's rare instances like the Blob poster right behind me. That's a photo. That's a photo that's blown up, but you can tell that it's not artwork because of the certain look it has to it. The RoboCop artwork is amazing, but you can tell it's a painting if you know what you're looking for. So, I just really, you had to do an article like that. It just shows me like how uninformed a lot of people are nowadays. And that guy gets paid to do this. I hope he doesn't get paid to write articles like that about, wow, the RoboCop poster was a painting. Who would have thunk? And yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It was a painting. Everybody who knows about that poster and who knows about posters in the 80s knows that it was a painting. Just because a lot of posters nowadays are cheap, half-ass Photoshop garbage, it doesn't mean that you need to be surprised and shocked that paint posters from back in the 80s were actually paintings. I know it seems like a really nitpicky thing, but it's just another example I can throw out there about a lot of just lack of respect for elder cinema and a lack of just appreciation and research. Like, just do your research. Why write something like that when you could just easily look up the fact that it's not a picture, it's a painting, and that most posters back in that time period were paintings? It's just a really annoying thing. It's just people lack context when they're talking about films or aspects of the past when it comes to cinema, and it's honestly really irritating. And just looking at any more bits of news here. Sherlock Holmes 3, it might take place in the Old West. I don't know about that. Please don't do that. That'd be a quick way for me not to be that interested in the third film, even though I've been looking forward to a third Sherlock Holmes for a long time because I'm a big fan of the first two with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. The Invisible Man remake actually might be gender swapped. If that's the case, why call it Invisible Man? If you call it the Invisible Man and it's a woman, why is it called the Invisible Man? If you call it the Invisible Woman, alright, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. That'll be a different take. Hopefully it'll be better than the crappy TV movie that aired like one time in the 80s on NBC. I think it was NBC. It could have been CBS. It was one of those networks. So, I mean, I'd be okay with that if you want to go that route. But don't call it the Invisible Man and then do some gender swap thing. That just doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? It's not like the Invisible Man is going to be played by Becky Lynch. I mean, it's just like, I'm the man, but you're not actually the man. Yeah, I just all right. That's a type of gender swap that all right. It doesn't really bother me that much. See, I can not get triggered by those kinds of things. Now we get to the trailers. My thoughts on some trailers. Aladdin. Disney came out with a longer trailer for the Aladdin live-action remake. And I was just as unimpressed as I was with the teaser. I don't get the people who are like leaving comments like, this is so much better. How? How is this so much better than the teaser? It still looks like a Brazzers porno parody version of Aladdin. It still has really terrible CGI. Will Smith still is horribly miscast as the genie. One little line that he gives about what the Fresh Prince or something doesn't really sell me on him as the genie, and the CGI still looks awful and creepy and weird, and it looks like the magic is all gone. You can have Brave New World in the soundtrack all you want, but you're not gonna get me to see the film just because you have Brave New World and you have scenes from the animated film. I'm sorry. You're not manipulating me, Disney. I'm not the one that you're gonna be able to manipulate with your nostalgia strings. It's just not gonna work. If I wanna experience the wonder and the magic of Aladdin, I'll just watch the original animated film on Blu-ray. I don't have to pay money to see a watered down, weak live action version of it that doesn't have any of the same wonder or grandeur. And it doesn't have Robin Williams. Why would I even bother? I don't understand. I mean, first off, it just shows how lazy Disney has become, that they're just willing to churn out remake after remake after remake of their animated classics, and the only difference is, well, they're in live action. Or with The Lion King, well, they're photorealistic. Even though the film's 99.9% CGI more than likely, and you can't really have a live action version of Lion King unless you're doing a live action remake of the Broadway show, but that's not what they're doing. But people keep coming to see it, and that's the problem. There are people who are like, oh, this looks like shit. I don't want to. Why is Disney doing this to our beloved animated classics? And then they still go and see the film. So Disney's got the money, and now that they make over $1 billion on one of these films, these lazy live-action remakes, they're just going to keep making them. That's just how it is. Because they care only about their bottom line. They don't care about integrity of the property anymore. They don't give a shit. All they care about is money. That's why I'm boycotting Disney. They're not getting a single cent from me. Not happening. Nope. I'm done with them. I'm honestly had it up to here with their bullshit. I might give the Disney Plus streaming service a shot one of these days, but that's only if it's announced that they have all of the classic cartoons with their classic characters from the 30s and 40s and 50s, as well as the entire library of animated series that they did from the 90s and stuff, like Darkwing Duck and Bonkers and Chip and Dale and Tailspin, Gargoyles, as well as other shows that they were responsible for, like Recess, which has never been officially released in its entirety. So if they do something like that, I'd give it a shot. But once I watch all those shows, why would I want to keep Disney Plus after that at that point? So it's one of those things where, yeah, I might initially give it a shot, but after that, after I watch everything I want to watch, I don't care about the new stuff. I don't care about that. And with the way the internet is, if there's some exclusive thing I'm curious about, I can find it and I can give it a watch. You just have to know where to look. But yeah, with Aladdin, it looked just as awful as it did as the teaser did. I don't understand the pass the longer trailer is getting. I'm honestly kind of surprised by it, to be perfect. I mean, it's pretty surprising and shocking that people have done such a double take on the Aladdin film based on a longer trailer, which doesn't do anything for me and isn't any better than the other one. Why did they just release the 90s film, the animated film with updated effects in theaters? Why didn't they just do that? Why do they have to do a live action remake that nobody asked for and nobody wanted? And speaking of Disney, of course, here's an inevitable Avengers Endgame. I know almost everybody and their mother is going crazy over this trailer, thinks it's epic. I thought it was boring, and I thought it was lame. And you can crucify me, you can roast me, you can punch me with words all you want to, but my opinion remains the same. I thought it was lame. I thought it was forgettable. I thought it was really just an absolutely dull trailer. I thought it was fake at first because it used a lot of the same techniques to show the older footage that fan trailers did. I think those fans who made those fan trailers should ask for some money from Disney for ripping them off. Also, I just don't care about... I'm really just so burned out on the MCU at this point. I'm one of the few people in the world who still hasn't seen Infinity War. Because I really don't care at this point. I mean, I'm just so burned out by Marvel films. There's like, it seems like 50 of them every year. It's kind of hard for me to really get that worked up over them at this point. They're just in one ear out the other. They're the same as actual popcorn. I go get popcorn, I eat a handful of it, tastes all right, and then it just dissipates and I don't think about it ever again until I go for another handful or buy popcorn again. And I get annoyed that it gets stuck in my teeth. and then I don't want to eat popcorn anymore. Like really, that's it's a perfect analogy for films in the MCU at the moment. And the 3 hour long running time. Oh my God, really? 3 hour long? 3 hours? You need 3 hours to tell this story? I highly doubt it. I don't think so. I mean, what, do you think you're Lord of the Rings now? And even Lord of the Rings didn't need to be that long. 3 hours? Plus 30 minutes of trailers? Yeah, no, no thank you. If I'm ever going to give that a shot, it'll be on home video where I can, I can let my ass get numb in the comfort of my own bed. So you can look forward to the Endgame. You can be excited for it. I have no issue with that. I think that's great. Different opinions on what makes this world interesting. But I could care less. I honestly could care less at this point. I just want this to end, period. I want this to be the end of an era, and I want Marvel and Disney to take a break. I want them to take a vacation from making Marvel movies for a couple years. Recharge your batteries. Because this is reminding me a lot of slasher franchises that won't die and got progressively worse as they went on, or the Universal Monsters films where they were hoarded out by Universal would seem like till the end of time, until their integrity and until the entire franchise as a whole was completely milked dry and was turned into a joke and was completely unprofitable because it just had been done to death. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that happening with Marvel, and it will happen, folks. Even if you're a fan, a diehard fan of the MCU, it will happen. It will eventually happen. It will, the MCU will crash and burn. It will fall just like Rome, and Disney will walk away. They'll walk away and leave its husk just laying there and do nothing to revive it at all, because it served its purpose for them. It brought them billions of dollars. And that's all they wanted Marvel for, and that's all they ever wanted Marvel for. And if you think any differently, then you got another thing coming. To quote Judas Priest. The other trailers, there's like two comedies that looked really god awful and unfunny. One is called Good Boys, which it's your typical cliched, generic, unfunny, lazy modern day comedy, but the only difference is instead of adults doing crass, stupid things, it's kids. And it's not like the kids are that talented either or that funny. They have no chemistry. They don't have any comedic timing. They're not very good actors. So unlike Superbad, where you had kids who could actually act and were funny and had chemistry with one another, there's nothing like that in this trailer. And it's really worrisome to see so many people praising the trailer in the comments section. I think it's the funniest thing ever. I mean, no wonder the comedy genre has fallen straight into the shitter as of late, because the standards are so fucking low when it comes to comedies. I understand comedy is subjective, but come on. Compare a trailer for Good Boys to something, to a lot of classic comedies from the past starring Richard Pryor and John Candy, and it's no contest what's funnier. So, and you also have like Jacob Tremblay, who was horrible and was trembling in his boots because they were too big for him in The Predator, and here he's in this, and he's in a comedy. This kid does not have a comedic bone in his entire body, and it shows. Seth Rogen's involved. I like Seth, but that doesn't mean that this is gonna be good. It was just cringe to me. Cringe Boys was more like it for me. Then another thing that was cringeworthy was the other comedy, Booksmart, which is, or is it Bookworms, or whatever the hell it was. It's this time around, it's two nerdy girls, one skinny nerdy chick and one heavyset nerdy chick, and they were nerds for most of their life in high school and never had time to party. So the whole film is about them going all out and going crazy and having that party. And how much do you want to bet at the end of it they're going to be like, oh, we didn't need the party? You know, that whole thing where they realize that it's okay to be a nerd and it's okay to be yourself and so on and so forth and all that other cliched bullshit. So, yeah, the comedy genre as of late has just been terrible, if you ask me. One of the worst genres in terms of success rate for me personally with modern day film. I mean, there's been ones I've liked, like Game Night, but there's been a shit ton of films that I've thought were just absolutely atrocious and completely unfunny, like Night School and Holmes and Watson, and films that are so bad that I don't even bother reviewing them because what's the point? I'm just gonna talk about how I think they're unfunny. And once again, comedies are subjective. What one person finds funny, the other person doesn't, and so on and so forth. So it's a hard type of genre to review. But when it comes to the type of comedy that I like, wow, the genre is easily one of the worst when it comes to that, when it comes to my personal taste. And I know I'm not alone. I mean, there's a lot of other people who are just like, where the hell have all the classic comedies gone? I mean, every comedy's trying to be the next Hangover with anal beads and drugs and tits and ass and all this other shit and drunken debauchery. Like, where's the humor? Where's the funny lines of dialogue? Where's the wit? Where's the satire? Where's any of this? It's the lowest common denominator. It's like Idiocracy, but in real life. Like, every comedy is the equivalent of somebody getting kicked in the balls. It's just like, can we please move on from this fucking genre of comedy already? For fuck's sake. Give me back the smart dialogue, the one-liners, and the physical comedy. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on those trailers. But there's two more I want to give my thoughts on. So, Universal has this, they have this division that's responsible for releasing direct-to-video movies. And they just released two trailers for two of their upcoming films. And, god damn, they are terrible. They are absolutely atrocious looking. So the first one is for Doom Annihilation. The Doom sequel and the Doom, well, not really sequel, the Doom movie that no Doom fan or no video game fan ever asked for. That's what it is. First off, it's already off on the wrong foot with Annihilation in the title, because the last time a video game movie had Annihilation in the title, it was Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And that film was so abhorrent and so awful that most people just wanted to annihilate every single copy of the film that they came across. So that's not a good sign. So Doom Annihilation, right off the bat, bad title. Then, for no reason at all, other than just because they could, and they just want to be lazy and just want to find a half-assed way to make the film different than the 2005 film, they swapped the gender of Doom Guy. So it's Doom Girl. And they didn't even try to, like, make her, I don't know, intimidating or strong. You know, maybe have, like, a Linda Hamilton type from T2. No, you have this skinny model who looks like she should be strutting her stuff on the catwalk. She should be walking on the catwalk, displaying the latest fashions and models instead of trying to brandish a fucking big fucking gun. Because it's comical. I'm sorry. There's a shot in the trailer and the gun is like bigger than her entire body. It's unbelievable. The gun looks fake as hell. It looks like it's made out of balsa wood or cardboard as a result. And she's not believable either. Like, she doesn't, like, if you're gonna have like an actress like that, at least have her have some sort of presence. This chick has none of it. She's going shooting two guns and it's the most inauthentic looking thing I've ever seen, and she's just like, die, die, die. And that's how I feel about this movie already. Die, die, die. Because it's so cheap looking. It's got like one little practical monster. It looks like the rest of it's just gonna be lame generic zombies or possessed people, and then it just looks like more of the same from the 2005 film. And what's wrong with them going to hell? Can't we just have people go to hell and like just have a guy in first-person shooter, like Hardcore Henry, who goes through different levels of demons and faces different challenges and different monsters until he gets to the top and fights the big bad guy and blows his fucking head off with a big fucking gun. That's all you need with Doom. It's not that fucking complicated, and it's so jaw-dropping that this movie is fucking up such a simple formula. I mean, PM Entertainment could have made a Doom film in the late 90s with a low budget. I know you can do a film like this with a low budget because they've done it with Hardcore Henry, and they did it with a film called Hotel Inferno, which is a really low budget movie, which is about a guy in first person format, first person POV, who goes around and he's shooting demons with shotguns and monsters and shit. Wow, what you can do it. You can totally do it. It's not impossible. So yeah, no pun intended, but Doom Annihilation is doomed. It's doomed as fuck. And if that wasn't bad enough, then the same division shits out the trailer for Backdraft 2. Yes, you heard that right. Backdraft 2. Did there need to be a sequel to Backdraft? No. Was there a demand for a sequel to Backdraft? No, there wasn't. Is there room for a sequel to Backdraft? Nope. The film ended on the perfect note. It ended things perfectly. Things came full circle. There's no need for a sequel. But here, years later, there's some direct-to-video sequel starring a guy who I don't even know who the fuck he is. And apparently he's going to carry on the mantle, and he's going to try to solve a new Backdraft, a new series of arsons. And you have William Baldwin, who's showing up for his paycheck as his character from Backdraft. And then you have a sad, old, just really depressing looking Donald Sutherland, who comes back as the arsonist. Why? So we can connect it somewhat to the original. I remember hearing about Backdraft 2 being announced like years ago, and I was like, yeah, no, that's stupid. Something to do with like nuclear weapons and other backdrafts and bombs and shit. I was like, this is dumb. Please, God, don't let this actually get made. And then I heard nothing about it until this trailer dropped, and I'm like, great. You might as well have taken a dump all over my face. Is this one of those things where this is totally unneeded? It's another cheap jack horse shit direct-to-video sequel that nobody asked for, that's just clinging on to the franchise like a fucking piece of shit on its hairy ass. It's like that piece of shit that just will not get off, the ass. It's just clinging there like a fucking dingleberry. That's really what Backdraft 2 is. I want to backhand Universal in the face for agreeing to do this shit in the first place. And the only Backdraft is the one that's coming out of Universal's ass right into my face if I ever decide to watch this shit. So that's my thoughts on Backdraft 2. And real quick, to cap this video off, mention a couple upcoming Blu-ray releases. Scream Factory is going to be releasing The Entity, which is a really underrated gem, which I will probably wait to review when the Blu-ray comes out. Sadly, it doesn't have a new transfer, which is something that Scream Factory is doing a lot of lately. Seems like they're cutting corners, which is really too bad to hear and too bad to see. So it's not going to be a new 2K transfer, 4K transfer, unless they decide to release it in a steelbook format a year later, which I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But yeah, they're using the supposedly inferior, not that great Anchor Bay transfer, which is disappointing, but I don't have the film on Blu-ray, and they did get Barbara Hershey for an interview, which I am really looking forward to. Easily one of her best roles, and I've always wanted to hear her thoughts on it, because honestly, it's a really hard role to pull off. I mean, it's a movie about a ghost that molests a poor woman. So, as an actress, you have a really tall task ahead of you to make it not only believable, but not ludicrous and laughable. And I feel that she totally was able to do that. Because most of the time when people think, oh, a horny ghost, it's like a porno. But that's not the case of The Entity. It's a serious film about ghost rape. And I know you're like, what, really? And the ending's a little out there, but it works when it comes to a Hollywood blockbuster. Yeah, it's for the most part a straightforward, serious story about ghost rape, and it actually is really effective. And a good part of that is because of the writing and Barbara Hershey's performance. So I'm really looking forward to hearing her thoughts on the film. Hopefully, it's a longer interview. Even if it's not, it's at least it's something. So I'm curious about that upcoming release. They're also doing Superstition, a slasher, which I've heard of, which that I haven't seen, but I do have on DVD. But I think I'll wait to watch it before I even think about getting a Blu-ray of that. And so yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Arrow Video announced that the RoboCop release that they're going to do, it's not going to be a new transfer, which I saw that coming because they're just going to use a previous one, because there already is a really good remaster of RoboCop that came out, to be honest. It'd be hard to do better than the one that already came out. They're not going to have RoboDoc, of course. I knew it because where is it? It's not even done yet because the people who are making it are taking their sweet ass time and just trying to add everything under the sun to the documentary before they can even like release one part of it to the public, especially the people who kickstarted it. I didn't kickstart it, so I'm not in that boat, and I'd be even more upset if I were. Trust me. But I'm like, they're all these Facebook posts are like, do you remember these video games with RoboCop? If you do, your childhood was awesome. No, I don't remember these games. But you know what would be awesome? If you would just release fucking RoboDoc already. So, no, there's not gonna be nothing from RoboDoc on the Arrow Video set. I don't know in terms of new features. Peter Weller would probably be like, no, fuck you, creep. You don't have enough money, and you're not paying me in chicken, so I don't care. But um, we'll see. Arrow Video does a great job with their releases. So I mean, even the presentation of the set alone will be worth it. So I'm waiting to see what the announcements are on that. MVD apparently is thinking about doing Split Seconds. It was erroneously reported that they were going to do it, but it's only a title that they are thinking about taking on. They haven't actually officially taken it on yet. I hope to God some other company takes it on. Please, Arrow, get a hold of Split Second. You do a so much better job than MVD. Or even Scream Factory. Like, I'll take Scream Factory. Anybody other than MVD at this point for Split Second. That film is such an underrated gem, and it deserves way better for its US release than from MVD. And I don't know if I mentioned The Kindred, but yeah, that is actually in the process of getting released. The guy who works at Synapse, they just moved offices, and he didn't feel comfortable with the quality of the initial print that he had done. So he and his team are working on delivering an even better print to the public. So that'll be a bit knowing Synapse, but when it's done, it'll be stunning. So it's one of those things where delayed gratification will totally pay off. They are also rumored to be working on The Deadly Spawn, which is awesome because the Blu-ray that is out sucks. It's worse than the DVD in terms of picture quality. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Synapse's remastered print of The Deadly Spawn, another gem just like The Kindred that should be seen and talked about more often. And one other bit of Blu-ray news I want to mention is the Blu-ray for Cannibal Apocalypse. Yeah, Kino just scored a deal with Studio Canal, and they're going to be releasing a new, I think it's a 2K or 4K remaster of Cannibal Apocalypse. The first time the film's ever been on Blu-ray, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm glad I staved off buying the DVD for so long because, hey, the wait paid off because now there's going to be a Blu-ray coming out with a new transfer. That's one of the few cannibal films from the early 80s that isn't complete total trash, if you ask me. It's not great, but it's definitely a decent, solid film in its own right. Good performance by John Saxon, and some nice atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to adding that to my collection one of these days. So yeah, that is those. That's it. That's it for this episode of Talking Cinema. I hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you later. See ya.